something going now. Crowd loving it. It's a ball, fly ball. Home run! 3, 2, 1.
We are back with a brand new edition. Something you've never heard before is that Ryan and I are tied because I beat him in fantasy. Last week we picked
son of a bitch.
We picked some matchups, and we're just going to review those before we move on to the second round of the NFL playoffs. So I picked the Bengals, and you had, if memory serves me right, the Texans. So
I picked the Texans. They won.
You got that one right.
Yeah.
And then the next game we had the Vikings Packers. We both had the Packers taken.
Yeah. So we both won that one. In case people weren't paying attention, the Packers won.
And then we had the Colts and the Ravens, and I had the Ravens.
I had the Ravens.
I had the Ravens as well, and then the Redskins and the Seahawks. I had the Seahawks.
And I had the Redskins.
Oh, and before we move on, RG3 looks like he might be out for a while.
Yeah, well, there's the last report I saw is they're finding tears in an ACL and an LCL in his knee, not torn, but just tears. He is going down to the notorious or famous, infamous, whatever you want to call him, Dr. James Andrews, for some second opinions on this before they declare whether or not he's going to need major surgery or just some.
Every time I hear that name, I think of like the Sound of Music, like the guys, like a character.
Dr. James Andrews?
Yeah, like from the movie. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's weird to me, but it is.
Oh, yeah. So
we're watching the BCS game as we're doing this, and there's a very attractive Alabama lady there.
She might very well be the girlfriend of the quarterback at Bama.
Well, they did just show her and then show the quarterback. Anyways, so let's further along.
Well, and just to go back to what you were saying there about RG3, it's interesting how in the first quarter it was 14-0 Washington, and then the limp happened, and the game got tilted significantly the other way. It's too bad. I mean, it's too bad that he had to go injured. I would like to see him finish the game, and he still might not have won, but what are you going to do?
And then speaking we just touched on it. Right now, we're about 4 minutes left in the first quarter of the BCS game, and the referee sort of had been a little bit of controversy in the first quarter here, but Alabama has just taken it to Notre Dame 14-0.
14-0, yeah.
Okay, so first game on the docket we got on CBS. We got Baltimore with Ray Lewis playing his last game in Baltimore last week, going to Denver, play the Peyton Manning Denver Broncos. The line is Denver by 10. Seems like a lot, but
that's a lot.
Away from Baltimore, the Ravens have been 4-4. At home, the Broncos have been 7-1. Basically, the key players here would be Flacco, his quarterback with the Ravens, Manning, quarterback with the Broncos, of course, Ray Rice, McGahee for the Broncos.
Who's out? He's out. There's talk that he's going to start practicing this week, possibly, so he might be back in time for that game.
So, anyways, who do you like in this one?
I got Denver at home. I've been a Ravens backer all year long, possibly because I've had Ray Rice in a couple of my fantasy pools for years now, and I've watched a lot of Ravens games. I believe in the old team, the old defense. I believe in Ray Lewis, all that stuff. But it is hard to play at Mile High in January. So I got Denver.
I like your logic, and I didn't like the Ravens last week, and I certainly am not going to pick them over the Broncos at home. The spread of 10, if I were going by the spread, I probably would take the Ravens. I think this will be a closer game than 10 points, but definitely I'm going to pick the Broncos in this one.
Well, and that's part of the problem, right, is the spread for both this game and the Patriots game are at 10, and that is, I mean, if you listen to some of the radio shows in the area, that's like unheard of in the playoffs to have this early in the week to have the spread at 10 for any team. So it's interesting, but you're right. I think if I had to play the spread, I may pick Baltimore, but sticking with Denver.
Okay, so that game's gonna be at 4:30 on Saturday on CBS or CTV if you're in Canada. And then the game following that on Saturday night will be a Fox game, 8 p.m. start time. We got the Packers 11-5 on the season, 4-4 away. Head to the 49ers, who will finish the season at 11-4-1, 6-1-1 at home. The spread is the Giants by 3. I don't even know who's starting at quarterback for the 49ers right now.
Go for it.
The Packers looked pretty good last week, looked pretty dominant, but then again that was at Lambeau. So Who do you got in this one?
This is a tough one for me because I really want to. I stuck with the Packers through most of the season as the team to beat, as a lot of people did, and the 49ers definitely surprised early on. But I shouldn't say surprised. People expected that to happen, but they tailed off and they came back. Now, if you've been following any of my blogs at all, I had the Packers in the Super Bowl at the start of the season, so I have to pick the Packers here, regardless of how I feel about it being in San Francisco. So I'm going with the Packers on the road here.
This game to me is so tough.
It is. You're right. It very much is.
I'd love to pick the Packers, but just because you picked the Packers, I'm going with the 49ers. And not because I think the Packers aren't going to win or whatever, or the 49ers are going to take this easily. I think it comes right down to the wire. Just the fact they're at home and they've gone 6-1-1 at home, I'm just going to go by that and take the 49ers in this game. Just pure going against Donnelly.
Yeah, and they're the favorite. 49ers are the favorite by 3, right? So this should be. Now this past weekend there were some games that were just kind of duds. This should be a really good game based on paper and what the season looked like this year. It's a tough one. If this might be the home field advantage for me. Like if I hadn't picked the Packers to be in the Super Bowl, I might be leaning towards the 49ers because I think this is a home field game. I really do.
Oh God. Just a little heads up, guys. I know this is going to be dated while we're doing this podcast, but Alabama's about to score another touchdown. They're on the 1-2 and goal in the first quarter.
There's 24 seconds left in the first quarter.
And it looks like it might be 21-0 in the second. Okay, so Sunday game, and clearly we'll keep updating the BCS game as it goes, just because we're watching it.
That's a touchdown.
Sunday's game, we got the Seahawks, who looked pretty good last week after stumbling out of the gate. 3-5 away, 11-5 on the season. Going to the Falcons, who are hot all year, clearly at home and on the season, who finished the season at 13-3. Clearly home field advantage all the way through. The line for this one will be Atlanta by 1, so it's a really take-em game. This game will also be on CTV. It's going to be on Fox in the States. Clock game. Who do we got?
I have the Falcons at home. I'm just not on the Seahawks bandwagon this year. And regrettably so. Some weeks. I love their defense. I love the way they play at home, but they're on the road. And I think the Falcons are the better team. I really do. Even though people have really second guessed them all season long. People don't seem to want to pick the Falcons ever to win anything, but they're there. So I got the Falcons at home.
I loved the Seahawks last week in their game, but this week I find it difficult to pick them. Although I think Wilson played well last week, and the defense is clearly always great. It was a beat up RG3. He also is a rookie. You're going into a Falcons stadium where the Falcons have gone 7-1 this year. Ryan looks great as ever. I mean, he passed for 4,700 yards this year. That's a great season right there. 32 touchdowns. I like the Atlanta Falcons actually a little bit more than 1 point. I like them by a significant margin there. So once again, that game's at 1 o'clock on Fox and 1 o'clock on CTV, and the line is Atlanta by 1. We both have the Atlanta Falcons in this one. By the way, end of the first quarter, Alabama did not score a touchdown, but they'll be on the 1-yard line going into the second. Second game on the 13th will be on CBS at 4:30. It won't be on CTV in Canada. It'll be on TSN. Due to the Golden Globes being here in Canada, we simulcast these things. So CTV will do the Golden Globes, and TSN will take over this game. We got the Texans 12-4, 6-2 away. That's a great away record. Going to the Patriots, clearly the Patriots are great at home. They're 6-2, 12-4 on the road. We got the Patriots favorite in this one by 10. Schaub's had a good year, 4,000 yards, just over, and Brady clearly dominating again with his 4,800 passing yards on the season with 34 touchdowns. Foster, the running back for the Texans, and we got Ridley as the running back for the New England Patriots. 10 points, a line of 10 points. I think that's pretty shocking.
Interesting, the Texans have just not been, I guess, a serious contender all year long. To me, they're kind of like the Falcons of the AFC, where people really haven't given them a lot of credit. They looked fairly weak a few times this year, and then they've looked just absolutely dominant too. So the Texans are a hard team to figure out. I don't see them doing anything against New England. They really don't. Now, Arian Foster obviously could be the difference because it is going to be cold and snowy in New England, and quite often that favors the run game. Foster is by far the better running back in this game. New England doesn't always stick with Ridley. They got a couple of backs they like to use, but Ridley is the guy that got the most yards this year for them. I'm picking the Patriots here easily. I think the Patriots win this easily. I probably would take them even with a 10-point spread.
This is really not tough at all. I'm taking the Patriots. I don't like the Texans that much. I think they stumbled down the line. I think if they continue with their momentum as they had earlier in the season, I think I'd probably take them. And there's a touchdown by Bama for 21-0, just starting the second quarter. Unbelievable.
Right up the middle, 1-yard TD run.
And there's the hot chick again.
Hello.
If you're PBRing this, just go back to the start of the second quarter. You have to see what we're talking about. So we both have the Patriots in that one. Once again, 4:30 game there, CBS. It'll be on TSN in Canada. So let's just review who we got here. We got the Ravens, Broncos, 4:30 game on Saturday on CBS and CTV. The line is Denver by 10. We both have the Broncos in this one.
Yeah. Yep.
The next game is 8 o'clock, Fox, CTV in Canada. Packers versus 49ers. The line is San Francisco by 3. Ryan has the Packers, and I got the 49ers.
Yep.
On Sunday, the next game, 1 o'clock game, Fox, CTV. The line is Atlanta by 1. It's Seahawks at the Falcons. We both have the Falcons in this one.
Yeah.
And finally, 4:30 game on CBS and TSN in Canada. Texans versus the Patriots, and we both have the Patriots in this one, and the line there looks like it's New England by 10, and there's the hot chick again. We're going to finish this podcast by looking at an attractive lady.
Awesome. She's been the most entertaining thing in this game so far.
Well, if we remember, you want to reverse till last week. You want to go back to the podcast. You, my friend, were the one who took
Notre Dame.
The Irish. And who was the one that took Alabama?
Not me.
I did. Once again, Mr. Smith is right. Guys, you can follow Ryan on Twitter. He's a great follow on Twitter. His handle is rdon.
1 sec left.
1 sec left, and our handle for our Twitter account on the website is 1 sec left. On Twitter, we tweet everything, any sport you desire. We're normally right on it. We also have a Facebook page. We got quite a few likes now. People are starting to like us.
Getting up to 500 or something like that?
Almost 600.
Almost 600 now?
You like them. I like them.
Well, they're quiet. Hey, they get on there and they like us, and they don't yell at us. They don't tell us they like us. They just
like us.
They just, I guess, quiet is a good thing.
Yeah.
Silence is golden.
I love
according to our webpage.
I should write to them and just tell them I love them.
You should do that. You know what? I'll back you on that 100%.
You're just not going to write it. All right, guys. I hope our picks do nothing for you but entertain you, I guess.
I'm juggling right now.
With his feet. Stay with us. We'll be back up next week with our predictions following whoever wins these games in the division championships.
He's going to be the conference championship games next week.
Notre Dame makes a big play. And we will definitely review our picture this weekend. We'll clearly review the BCS game. That seems to be a whitewash right now, but Notre Dame seems to be driving. Thanks for tuning in.